Das ist Berlin, wie es weint und wie es lacht.
Buddy, I had to have my popcorn.
Yes, you did.
That's a must, right?
Yes, definitely.
But I have the sweet one.
That's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. That's,
yeah, but we're German.
Right. Yeah, I know.
You like it with salt. Oh, well. But you can have one if you want
thanks.
to.
I'll try it.
And now we're sitting here. We're not in the movie theater, but we're outside. They have the chairs here. I love it here. It's so nice.
Yeah, it hasn't changed that much. It's pretty much the same setup, but things are newer. It was really run down when I was here the first time.
And where exactly you had your first premiere here?
It was right here.
Yeah?
See, yeah, this Kino number 2, a midnight show of Combat Shock.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about this movie, Combat Shock.
Well, Combat Shock was my first feature film. It was a very low-budget film, but it was a very dark and powerful film in that it showed a side of America that people haven't seen really in film before. It deals with a returning Vietnam veteran who's trying to come back to his life and society, and he can't do it. And it stood out, I guess, because it was so dark in a way. And you know, American films are known for happy endings. The happy end is the Americans, always have a happy end in their films. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And this film didn't have a happy ending. This film ended really on an explosion. Emotional explosion. Mm-hmm. So it stood out, and it was actually popular in Europe, and it was one of the films that got me here. It's a known film here in Europe, much more successful here in Europe as it's ever been in America.
And then you did so many other films. Tell me about it with Tim Roth.
Well, my second feature is actually the feature that got me moving to Berlin. It was called No Way Home with Tim Roth and Deborah Kara Unger and James Russo.
That's a huge cast.
It was a great cast. It was a British company financed the film. It's funny, it's a very American story, shot with a German camera woman, starring a British actor from a British company. So the film also, that film did well here, and people really liked it. It plays like once a year on ARD, the first channel.
Oh, really?
So that was the film that really brought me here, because that got the attention of the DAAD jury.
I don't want to go back there. I'd rather die than go back there. Looking for Tommy Larrabito?
Who are you?
I'm his brother.
And then you had to learn, when you were here, you had to learn German.
Yeah.
And you write still in English?
I write in English because my stories, aside for Potsdamer Platz, my stories are basically American stories. Mm-hmm. And they're dealing with Americans, and either the Americans are in Europe or they're in some type of a horrible situation. But to write in German, I would never be so courageous to do that, just because I understand how difficult it is. I read scripts all the time. I'll get a script from a producer who will tell me it's a script in English, but the writer's mother tongue is English. Mm-hmm. And I read the script, and on page 1, I can realize that the writer probably speaks beautiful English, but it's not his mother tongue, because you can see it in the fine tuning. You can see it in the details. For instance, you could see it in prepositions. I'll give you an example. Yeah. I'll give you an example. We as Americans, we would say, "I'm waiting for my friend. I'm waiting for a taxi." Mm-hmm. The Germans say, "I'm waiting on my friend. I'm waiting on a taxi."
Yeah.
So things like that, or they'll say, a German will say like, "Let's go out of here." But American would never say that. American would say, "Let's get out of here."
Yes.
So see, these fine-tuning things, when I read them, I realize that's why I won't write in German, because I know I will not master that music.
Okay, so and when did it came?
Completely too much detail, isn't it?
No, it's good.
completely
but
too much.
You have to now explain that in German, because his German is pretty good. Say something in German.
Well, der Unterschied zwischen Englisch und Deutsch ist in die Präpositionen. Wir warten für einen Freund, die Deutschen, die warten auf einen Freund.
Wow, super, ne? Also super. When was the first time you got a television? How was that?
My first TV job was, it's kind of a weird story. Germans will be able to appreciate it, because I shot Polizeiruf 110. That's the East German Tatort. That was the East German crime show. I shot it in Munich. So they have the East German show, which is being shot in Munich, which is completely wrong, shot by an American, which is completely wrong. So everything was wrong with this situation. But the show was successful, and this was in 2001. And at the time, the executive producer who worked for the TV station, she sort of convinced herself that I could speak German. I would go to these meetings, and we'd have these 4-hour story meetings, and I wouldn't say a word. I would just nod, you know, and I'd say, yeah. And they either thought I was an idiot or a genius. Then at the end of each meeting, I would find somebody in the room that spoke English, and I'd say, what did I just agree to?
That's funny.
And yeah, but when it came to shooting, filmmaking is filmmaking. It's the same all over the world. It's basically your instinct and looking at what you see, and do I believe what I'm watching the actors do? And if I feel like the actors don't convince me, then I would say, you know, we need to do something different.
Do you go in your spare time? What do you do? You go to movies, or you play tennis, or what do you do?
I would never play tennis. I mean, there's just no way that that's going to happen.
Something else, bowling?
No, you know, bowling once in a while. Basically, you know, I love to read. I love to watch films. I love to go for walks with my wife. My wife is very active, and she loves nature. I'm not so much a nature fan, but she pulls that out of me. And just to be with her and to do things together, you know, I really like that, because my wife makes me do things that if I were by myself, I wouldn't do.
Okay.
You know, just you go for a walk in the park. You
get new ideas, inspiration.
Yeah.
Where do you get that?
I get them just from life, from reading a newspaper, from seeing something I watch. And it's funny because I go into a room, or I go into a party or a situation, I don't want to be noticed. I want to be part of the wall. And I just like to just sit in the background and just watch and observe and see how people react with each other and what goes on, and see what you can figure out from people's behavior and their actions. And it's, you know, it could be pretty boring, but I like it. I find it really interesting.
And you have a wonderful life, and we're going now to the next thing, where you had your post-production for your new
Tatort.
Tatort. And we're going to go there, and then you tell me about it.
Okay, great.
All right, let's go.
All right.
So we're now from Mitte in Moabit.
Yes, we are.
At the sound studio.
Yes.
And what's happening in there, you're going to tell me.
I'm going to tell you something.
Okay.
Okay.
Looking forward to it.
All right.
De Facto Motion is one of the most successful post-production companies in Germany. The latest high-end systems in digital post-production and visual effects, 2D and 3D animations are used to achieve the most aesthetic from each project.
Now we're sitting in the future, because here you were working on your future project.
That's right.
The Tatort.
Tatort, crime scene for English-speaking people.
Yes. And how was the shoot? Tatort is, it's here airing like over 40 years on German television.
Sunday night prime time crime movie, 90 minutes without commercials for over 40 years. And every Sunday night at 8:15, there's between 7 and 15 million people that are watching Tatort, depending on the time of year and depending on the city. It's a tradition. I watch it with my mother-in-law when I'm with her, when we're there on Sunday nights, and we watch it, and it's a tradition.
They shoot Tatorts in different cities. One of my favorite cities is the Tatort which you shot in Münster.
In Münster. That was my first Tatort, was in Münster for 14 years ago. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was the third one in the series, and nobody dreamed back then it would last and be so successful as it has become, and it's still running great. So I was happy to come back and do another one. Love the actors. The actors are fantastic.
That's Josef Liefers and
Axel Prahl.
The creme de la creme in German television.
Yeah, it's true. And I get to work with my friends. It's beautiful.
That's what else can you wish?
Yeah.
You love your job. You get to work with your friends. What exactly is happening here in the post-production office?
Well, here we shot in Münster and Cologne. So we shot not in Berlin, which is kind of a drag, because I'd love to shoot more in Berlin. But what we did was we edited the film here. We did the sound design here, And sound design was also done in Cologne for Thomas Supke. We did the mix here. Basically, you know, the last day of work for a director on this type of project is the mix. And that's where we put the sound effects, the music, the dialogue, everything together. We make sure that it all sounds right, that you can hear what people are saying, that the music has an effect. And at that point, then it just goes out to the station, and then they'll project it. They'll broadcast it.
So how long you actually work here in time?
I was here for 2 months.
2 months.
2 months. Yeah, we shot for we shot for 5 weeks. It's you know, it's a great process, because when you're shooting, especially, you know, we were shooting in November. It was really cold and rainy and wet and nasty, and we're shooting nights out in the countryside. So you can't really control any of that. You know, we shot a really big action sequence with a chase scene with a stunt, and it rained the entire time. And you're just out there, you're soaking wet, and it's miserable, and everything moves slower. And it doesn't mean the day lasts longer. It just means you have to work even harder and faster to get everything that you need shot. Then we come here, and we're in a lovely room that's warm, and it's got light, and there's no problems, there's no stress, because you know you got days to cut.
But I can tell that you love your job, even though if it's raining manchmal, it's hard to shoot a movie, but you seem to love it, and like you would never do something else. No,
I can't do anything else, and I picked the right thing, because, you know, I never really wanted to have like a 9-to-5 job, and I didn't grow up that way.
Even though respect is good for people to have it, but...
Definitely. Well, you know, it's security. You give up by not having that 9-to-5 job. You don't have the security of having a job. So like right now, as of last Wednesday, the film is finished, and I'm looking for another job.
I'm sure there will come one pretty soon.
Well, you know, I don't worry about it. When it comes, it comes. And it's also, you know, you want to do something that you really like. So you wait for a good offer with good actors. I'm attracted to the actors and the script. If I really like the actors and the script is good, then I definitely want to do it. But I'm going to take it easy and take some time also. I need a rest. I'm tired.
Of course, everybody needs a rest. And before we come to a rest from My Berlin with Buddy Giovinazzo, I'm going to say bye. But we're going to go next door, and you're going to show me how the sound is going to make.
Well, what's next door is called the Foley studio, and that's where they make all the sounds that the microphone on set can't really pick up. Footsteps and clothing sounds and things like this.
My popcorn,
Your popcorn, which is, it's a very important sound to have. So, you know, and we'll take a look at that studio.
Yeah, let's
very interesting.
Take a look, but in the meantime, I'm going to say bye and thank you for being on My Berlin.
Thank you. It was fun to be here. Fun to be with you again after so many years.
Thank you. Give me a hug. Danke schön. We're in the Foley studio.
Yes, we are. In the Foley studio, they have every type of surface that you can walk on. So, for instance, if a guy's walking on a gravel driveway, the Foley artist will stand there and watch the screen, and then he will match every step. Stand here, and then look at the monitor, and then every time the character takes a step, you take a step. Let's try. Yeah, he's running now. He's running very fast. That's what a Foley artist does all day.
Wow.
And he finds all these different things. You know, here we have, it's a hard cement surface. Here we have, I guess that's sand, but that's more for like somebody on a dirt road.
That's funny.
And you match that to the picture, and then it's cut. So that we can make the dialogue really loud, and then we can control the sound so it's not too loud, because on the microphone, if we were to record all of these sounds, you wouldn't hear the dialogue.
Beautiful that you're showing us.
Yeah, this studio generally has a million different things that they use for sounds. Bicycles, tools, wheelbarrows. It's great. The best Foley artists, they come up with their own things to make good sounds with.
It's great. So let us finish it. I go on wood, you go on this, and we'll finish up.
Let's do a chase scene.
Yes.
Das ist Berlin, wie es weint und wie es lacht.